Spoilers! This is Sophie Aldred with The Legend of the Traveling TARDIS.
Hello. Welcome, fellow Whovians, to the Legend of the Traveling TARDIS. I am your host with the most, Paparazzo Dave Chapman. Somewhere I can take off this picture. There we go, Christian. Thank you. Again, I'm not wearing the right hat, but we'll take it. What an excuse for me to lose some weight, right? Thanks. Just keep reminding me. I'm a fat beep. Anywho. Hello. Welcome. We've got a great show for you today. It is, in fact, your lucky day. Terrible joke. Yeah. The panelists in the background are giving rim shots. You can't see them yet, but yes. I figure if I could go with well, previously, I can get away with it's your lucky day today. But let's introduce our producer for the day, the one, the only, Christian Basil, hiding behind the logo. How you doing, Christian?
Hello, not bad, but wait. I got to make this official as a producer.
Oh, lordy.
Brainy specs. There we go.
Oh, the brainy specs.
Which for some reason do not fit my head when I'm wearing this headset. I have no idea why. Oh. It's very, very weird.
I didn't
know. There we are. Hello, everybody.
It's not my fault. I'm trying to. There we go.
What else could I say at this moment?
I don't know. I give
Hello,
you the chance
everybody,
to say whatever.
Yep. Tonight we are reviewing Lucky Day, and I will be in the production. And the challenge is to try to make sure that I can't keep up with the chats tonight. So that's your job, is folks out there. And don't forget 1 through 10 to rate the episode. 10 being the highest, 1 being the lowest. Where? Good grief, where did I put it? There we go. So tonight we're reviewing Lucky Day, 10 being great, 1 being not so great, and all the numbers in between. We will get to your chats as soon as we get to our panel tonight, and maybe a few surprises in the middle. But yeah, as Nico Bat says, let's go. Let's do this.
Woo! All right, so let's do the thing. We'll put you back there, except that puts me back there first. So we'll I really should just let you do that. I should do that to solo you while you talk, and then
there you go.
Sense. But also, who do we have from the other side of the pond? The now daywalker staying up late.
Yeah,
Candyman.
Hey guys, how you doing? Yep, I'm standing up late, but now I'm not a vampire. I'm a daywalker. And I am getting confused on which time zone is which. Well, I'm still here, and maybe it's your lucky day, punk.
And you #stand with unit.
Yep. I'm not sure you can see that.
It doesn't show
up well
as the background.
I like that.
But yeah, that came out. That was one of the interesting things about this show, is the whole lot of hashtags appeared. I haven't seen people using Hot Taser Lady though.
No.
I want to see that one.
You know how much I like Unit. I'm going to stand with Unit.
Oh, of course. Meanwhile, we've got something that looks vaguely like a Reverend Amagon.
Oh, jeez.
Hello there.
Hello there. Hello there.
Shout it out!
It's your boy, Tasty Cake.
All right, moving on.
Looks like your boy Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Yes, Hot Taser Lady is. But since I'm so far behind of everything. And also about 2 more albums of Skeletor. Limited edition. Someone stop me.
Excellent.
Excellent.
All right, who else do we have here? But we do have Grisbane Adams.
Hello. How are you?
I'm doing fabulous.
Wow.
How are you?
I am fine. Thank
Excellent.
you for asking.
You are
Did we
welcome.
get the AI version of David, or what is
I
it?
think we did.
I wish I had an
Mine
extra finger that I could, little prosthetic finger or something I could hold up. That would be hilarious at that exact moment. But I don't, so I can't.
Oh, I'm just surprised you don't.
Yeah, I have
Or
a lot of crap around here. You'd think I have something like that, but no.
If you don't, Rev, do you have a spare finger somewhere?
No, I always have a spare finger. Read between the lines.
No.
Oh,
no.
No.
A 6th finger that you could pretend to be AI with. No, well.
Moving
That's
on.
okay. That's okay. And of course, with our new coming up shortly here with the news, we do. Hey, Raj, Gadget, conveniently
Hello.
says hi, Gadget. Gadget.
Oh boy, you guys.
The gadge.
Oh, between tasers, unit, and everything else, and the AI over there, because we just found out. Yeah, you have to now prove that a human can't do an AI's job when you go to look for work. I just found that one out. And everything. So he does a really good job of being an AI.
He does a very bad. He does a very bad job of being human.
That's
Rod,
I know a few like that. Yes.
Rod, I cannot stand that word. I am so sorry. I've just gotten over Mavity from I don't want to see that word anymore.
I haven't heard Navity in a while though. That's interesting. Did they correct the timeline and everything?
They just haven't said it. They haven't had a reason to squeeze it in. I think they did once this season.
Did they?
I think but it was like a really fast in passing and fit.
Okay.
So you didn't notice it. They didn't shoehorn it in. AI Dave. Hello. I am. Hold on. Hello. I am Dave. You have reached AT&T Singular. Please enter your phone number now. No, don't actually do that, people. I'm
God,
actually
why don't you just ask the audience if they can get the car warranty extended? Speaking of the audience, there's our favorite
I just had a
Viking.
phone call with a loan.
There's our favorite Viking, and there's our favorite man from Down Under, Joseph. Hey, man.
Hey, we got all sorts of fun people in here today. But why don't we kick things off with some news?
Dear God, please, let's do that right now, please. Thank you.
Press 1
better.
for the news with Gadget Pendragon.
That's better.
Well, guys, do you want birthdays first, or would we rather just do Revenge of the Sith and May the 4th be with you?
Press 2 to skip.
Oh my God.
I was waiting for that.
Press 3 for Espanol.
Anyway, Gadget, well, let's talk about Star Wars. Let's go ahead.
Well,
Just
Gadget.
briefly in Star Wars.
Well, all of us know that we technically celebrated over the weekend, May the 4th be with you, as well as some people say Revenge of the 5th on May 5th, but I still think it's Revenge of the 6th on June 6th and everything. But basically,
That's just Nubians trying to stretch out this thing. I mean,
yes,
we're
basically
get Revenge of the 18th or something like that. So yeah, and
and if you talk to some Star Wars fans, Star Trek fans too, they'll start saying it's also for them live long and prosper and everything.
Yeah.
Oh, I do that all the time.
So that's what I'm saying. Like it's a day for everyone. Just thank Lucille Ball for everything.
Yes.
When is International Geek Day? That's coming
I'm
up.
not sure.
There's several of them, including May 4th.
Yeah.
There was March the 10th, Mario Day, May 4th, May the 4th, May the 5th.
They had the Anime Day. They had the
Yeah, there's a
Doctor
lot
Who
of
Day.
them now. You know, there's Star Trek Day. I forget what the actual day
When
is.
there was a day we forgot about, wasn't it on March 22nd or 23rd or something? Something happens on
There's
that day.
so many geek days out there.
I mean, something happens on one of those days. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
it was 420, and everybody was feeling great about themselves.
Oh yeah, that day I had to get explained because I never partaked in any of that, so I had to have that explained to me and everything. Very interesting day.
May the 25th is International Geek Day.
May
Okay.
the 25th. Okay, mark your calendars, kids.
Mm-hmm.
What are we gonna do? So what are we gonna do about that?
But let's get into the happiness of happy birthdays because this person is the reason why Doctor Who didn't get made in the United States. Technically his show. But John Rhys Davies from, if you remember, Indiana Jones and the Lord of the Rings series and everything, he celebrated his birthday yesterday. He's cannot believe this, 81 years old and everything, and still giving that same smile, still that chatterbox, nice person. But his show, Sliders, was the toss-up between Fox's decision to either go with our Doctor Who or them. And the toss of the coin, because I have insider information, family member, they went with that coin toss and went with Sliders. So Doctor Who had to sit on a shelf for another day.
13 minutes in, as she said it.
Oh,
No, tongue twister.
I will forgive him because he makes a Fez cool.
Tongue twister because I stuttered as a kid and it's not fun. You try saying that 3 times fast.
They've tried, maybe. I don't.
I don't think you could say it once.
I have an axe.
Will go nuts. But yeah, I would have loved John to have been the Doctor. That would have been cool.
I would love that.
With the Fez.
Yeah, think about it. Like if they had actually done a crossover, that would have been cool.
To me,
One of the things about John Rhys Davies on Sliders, though, that was really interesting. I mean, of course, he left it really early because by about episode 6, he was already sick of it. Mostly because he was getting into arguments with the writer's room. This is what I heard from like interviews or whatnot. Apparently, I remember watching him in an interview once where he actually said, like, we were on the 4th or 5th episode and they're already saying, well, we're going to have to start revisiting some of these planets or some of these dimensions because like we can't keep coming up with new ones. And he said at that point he knew, okay, call the agent. Time to start arranging for Dr. Maximilian. I don't remember the last name's exit from the series because we
And
are
he just
doomed.
went, bring in the brother, bring in this, bring in that, and yeah. We would have been better with Doctor Who than this.
And as soon as he was done, it went downhill fast as well. So he was fantastic. I loved him, but oh well.
I remember him
He's a
playing
good guy.
King Richard Lionheart in Robin Sherwood.
You can have my
I think, if I'm not mistaken, Raj, they were making Sliders, and they were making the decision to where it was going to be either Sliders or Doctor Who, and Doctor Who was the most budgeted, so Sliders was their other pick. Plus, whoever came up with the idea, let's put it up against the season ender of Roseanne. I'm like, great idea.
I had this on VHS. I didn't even realize I had the Doctor Who episode until I went through my VHS tapes, and I'm like, oh damn, I even have an episode of X-Men that people don't even remember and everything and stuff, because it was supposed to be a series on Fox and everything. And it's like I have all these things on VHS right now that I wish I can get another VHS player, because mine is starting to go and everything, so I can transfer these things, because there's so many things that Fox let loose or die on the table. It's like, you know what I mean?
Generation X, the alternate universe X-Men with Matt Frewer as the villain. I taped that one at broadcast and rewatched it way too many times as well. And I still quote it for some perverse reason. There's a part where I think it's Banshee. He's welcoming the younger generation of students to Xavier's mansion. Quiet down, you heathens. And I use that one. Nobody ever has any idea that I'm quoting anything or why I'm doing a bad Irish accent, but
and it looks like it would have been a good one if it was now done in this time frame. So you see what I mean? It's like Fox missed the mark and everything, but now Disney owns Fox, and then Disney owns Who, so came full circle.
Joe's already says he's in the future in Australia, so he's already seen the show. He knows how bad. Thanks, Joe.
Do we get a raise?
Yes.
We have another news gadget.
Yeah.
Yes. Would you like to know the ratings for Lucky Day, or would you like to know about Ncuti's travels and honoree of Eurovision?
Your pick.
Let's go with his double duty that he's been doing, because he was spotted in New York and everything, but I tried to get some friends to do something, but he was seen at the Met Gala, and these pictures, do not look at the ones from the Met Gala. They did not do him justice. These ones were just sent to me now that do him justice and everything, and everyone was raving. They said he was a wonderful person on the carpet. Everyone said he has the personality, like he's your brother, he's your sister, he's everything. Like, he's everything to you. He's genuine. He's basically the sweetest person in the world. So they were raving about that. But in this suit that he's wearing, it is like gorgeous as hell and everything and stuff. You can see it in certain British magazines, as well as some of the New York magazines and stuff. And he was spitting very nice and everything, nice spitting image, everything. But when you took the pictures on the Met carpet, I don't know if it was the blue that clashed with it or anything, but I'd rather look at these pictures. He looks very hot and very sexy in those.
Yeah, I could see that outfit clashing with the blue and flowers from the main carpet.
It made him look so washed out. And when he did take the picture, he looked like he was AI robot and everything. So I think that's the theme tonight. I think it's a lot of AIing and everything, but this would have been a good one on the, like, if he had done this with the Doctor Who premiere and everything, like when they were announcing him and stuff, this color on that. But to wait to this Met Gala, I mean, I love that he attended, but it was not him. It didn't make him look that nice. These pictures do and everything. But the best news is, if you are a fan of Eurovision Song Contest, our lovely Ncuti is going to be confirming as the spokesperson to partake in, including with Joanna Lumley, Fierney Cotton, and Nigel Lawson, and fellow Whovian Catherine Tate have been, trying to make sure I get this right, are going to be part of the Eurovision, they're calling it Fabulous Colson, collection. I think I'm spelling it wrong. Sorry, guys, the dyslexican, because I just wanted to make sure I get this right. they'll in a special episode titled Interstellar Contest. They're going to be doing this with everything. Yep. So basically, it's a tie-in to the episode coming up that might not be seen. Because I'm reading this right now. Someone says it might not be seen, though. That's the only sad part about it and everything. But it's supposed to tie in the same night he gets announced as the Eurovision spokesperson while they're showing that episode. But because of the soccer game, if I'm reading this right, it might not air and everything. So that's up in the air, guys. But you will see it on iPlayer and Disney Plus.
Cool. What else we got in the news, Gadget?
That's a stacked day that day.
Yeah, it's messed up because they're even putting in, as I'm reading it, they just put another amendment in about that it might show, it might not show. So I'm trying to weed through all the people that are amending it as I'm reading it, because you see updated as of an hour ago, updated as of 20 minutes ago, updated as of, so they're putting in little pieces back and forth because they're trying to get it to air, even though it's depending on how long the game takes and everything and stuff. Which I doubt you will see it unless you're on the iPlayer or Disney Plus and everything, which is okay. That's where most people end up anyway and everything and stuff and everything. But we did have some sad notes, though, on this episode of Lucky Day that we're going to be reviewing tonight. It was the lowest rated out of all of them. It had 1.50 million, and then today it got another 5, so it's 1.55 million that finally saw it and everything on iPlayer and Disney Plus, which surprisingly and everything. But The Well picked up in 7 days 3.24 million in total views and everything from the web as well as iPlayer and Disney Plus. And
no, that's not including Disney Plus. That does
they
not.
didn't put Disney Plus in.
It
Disney
does
Plus
not include
comes
Disney Plus.
much
That's
later.
Only iPlayer and BBC.
Really? Yeah. Okay, so the one that I got this from on the paperwork, because the one I got it from said Disney Plus was included in it and everything. So if that works, we might get up to 5 then if Disney Plus gets added in.
Yeah, that I would be shocked if it was, because I've not seen any release of those numbers at all. I could be wrong.
Right. That's what I'm saying. That was the first time I saw it. That's why I was adding it in today about the 7-day one. Otherwise, I wouldn't have said anything about the 7-day because I figured it's now everything included.
Yeah. No, the 7 days is only the 7-day consolidated is just the British iPlayer and BBC.
But it's crazy. It's been one of those. But they're also, I'm going to say one thing that I just saw on here, and the rumors about the second season and everything ties into this episode, yes. But a lot of people are now asking about Miss Flood and all the other things, plus the hiatus and everything, that this episode is the one that tells the story of how we're going to see our doctor. I want to keep telling everybody it's still up in the air. And I'm not mentioning the other part of the story because we don't think, like, I don't deal with the politics part of it and everything because they threw in another politics thing, which until I have my proof of it, I'm not going to mention that part. But as of now, we will have the second season soon. And we may not allegedly get a hiatus because it's up to Ncuti and also what they have planned, because you have to watch closely these last episodes. It was reshot, another shot. They did a 4th reshoot. There was 3 mentioned. Now there's a 4th one. So I would just don't jump the gun with rumors. Don't jump the guns with anything political. Just in one ear, out the other, because every day, this is just a show. It's just the show, and a lot of people like to play on other people's fears.
Yeah.
And pretend that things are imaginary. It's a show.
Exactly.
It's not.
I have heard a rumor, and this is a rumor.
Mm-hmm. Right. It's all rumor, alleged.
They shot 4 different endings to this season.
Mm-hmm.
So
they mentioned the 3.
Yeah, no one actually knows which ending is going to actually happen.
It depends on what happens, and we don't know that unless you are a screener, unless you're on that Disney table and you're camping out like a jury, or you're the BBC or Bad Wolf. We don't know. Even some of the podcasters who know will not spill. And that's the thing. And everyone's playing off of everybody's fears, illusions, and things like that because it's all hearsay. So right now, these next episodes and this next season, take with a grain of salt what you hear and just like the show. Just watch it for fun, just everything.
And I just want to let people know, Mark sent me a picture of one of those possible endings, Mark. Isn't that right? There you go.
Where's that one that said bad Christian?
You know the story, Christian. You know the story.
You know what? I'm already in the dumpster. Might as well just enjoy the
No,
flight.
don't. She's going to kill you. She's going to kill you.
Dare you.
Don't show that one. You don't you dare.
I'm already in the dumpster.
No, she's going to kill you. Sophie, please, please. Just let me be on camera when you do it.
Imagine are there any other news?
No, we've been good. It's just been a slow news day because everything is all rumor based and it's not right. We should not, especially with this episode. I'm not touching rumors with a 10-foot pole. I'm
Exactly.
like, because that speech he made.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. We're just gonna go with that because that just says it all.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
So let's, while we've got you, Gadget, what was your number?
I hate saying it, but it's a 7 because it could have gone a little bit more. You know what I mean? And on the focus of things, but because I could see where the edits were and everything in this one.
We'll see. Okay.
Yeah.
And
I knew where the bloopers were. So I'm sorry.
What about you, Rev?
7.99 because I remember who told me what their number was.
Candyman. Mr. Grisbane Adams.
Well, I was going to give it a 10, but then I realized that we were reviewing this episode and not Steve Martin's performance in The Three Amigos. So then I have to.
What? Why?
His character is named Lucky Day.
Oh,
Lucky Day.
Right.
I was thinking the song from Card Captor Sakura, Lucky Day, the WB, Warner Brothers, or anything. I was thinking that.
I'm gonna give it a 6.
6. All right. And Candyman.
Right, on Saturday I gave it an 8, but after rewatching it, I am going to drop it down to 7.1, which I really hate because it's a unit episode. But
there.
It's not all about
right.
unit, though. It's not an entire unit show. But
hence why it's dropped down.
Oh, well, okay, yeah.
I dropped it for other reasons being played.
I'm Asian and I got the math. Thank you very much.
Fair enough. So we'll be back after these commercials with Mr. Grisbane Adams review of The Three Amigos.
Gotcha. If you don't mind, speaking of numbers, Gadget, we just want to encourage everybody during the commercial break. If you're looking for something to do, give us a like, share, and subscribe. We're almost there.
I thought we were going to hit 60 this weekend, but you guys are slacking off. Come on, guys.
Ask 600 of your friends to join us on our YouTube channel. Yep, we're on the cusp.
We're doing better on Facebook. That's what's scary.
Oh, Facebook is going nuts. There were at 78,000 or something like that. So I've lost count. I'm not even paying attention as much as I would like to. When we return, please continue to stay logged on, tune in, and we will be right back. That goes for the Who Knew News.
Are you a movie nerd? Do you collect VHS, DVDs, CDs, records, and so much more? Are you looking for clothing from 1940s to 2000s? Do you need cosplay or themed outfits? Come to Ducky's Vintage. We have it all for all budgets, located at the Oviedo Mall right off of the 417. Ducky's Vintage for those born in the wrong decade.
We are a touring acoustic duo crashing kitchens around the country. We go from house to house every Friday night and we create music, we create food, a good time, we stream it live and we do it for free. So now we're just really kind of like trying to develop it and build a community group that people believe in, then they'll help us. So we played from our rehearsal room. We played from the bathroom. Thankfully, that didn't catch on.
I probably played guitar in my room, not for anyone, in front of anyone, nobody heard, for probably about 10 years.
And then one Friday night, we played from the kitchen. It's the main place people want to be. It's where the food is, it's where the drink is, it's where the best lighting is. You can go to any party and I guarantee you, the kitchen is going to be popping.
Our ultimate goal, I think, would be to crash kitchens every Friday all around the world.
I'm author Mark Muncy.
And I'm author Erica Lance.
And this is Eerie Travels.
Greetings, travelers. Join us as we travel through folklore, myths, monsters, legends, and dark history.
Now, we'll be your guide to the spooky side of reality as we discuss cryptids, paranormal, and all things preternatural.
Sometimes we find the truth is way scarier than fiction.
We're on twice a week on your favorite podcast platforms, including iTunes, Spotify, Amazon, and YouTube.
We have amazing guests from all of the areas of the strange and unusual, including witnesses, investigators, and more.
Yeah, with Erica's curiosity and ridiculous array of pop culture and true crime knowledge.
And Mark's decades of experience diving into folklore and the legends with the truth that's behind them.
Yeah, so join us, travelers, as we take you to the edge of reality, and we'll see you on the other side.
Hello, I'm Sadie Miller, and this is The Legend of the Traveling TARDIS.
I got very lucky since we just saw the commercial here for Eerie Travels. When that comes down, I got an advanced reader copy of The Dark Side of the Smoky Mountains.
Yay.
So you'll be able to read my review of this on Friday on TheRatHole.CA /Smoky-Mountains.
I'm trying to download my copy too. It's just my phone wouldn't take it.
It is quite the read. I embarrassingly, as much as I love Mark and I've had wonderful time spending time with him, I'd never gotten a chance to read one of the books. And all I can say is they give major Mr. Peabody and Sherman.
You're kidding.
That
I was only able to see a snippet. I was only able to see a snippet of it. That's why I couldn't figure out, because I couldn't download the rest of it. My phone wouldn't take it. It only took a snippet.
Yeah,
and everything.
That is the vibe, and I can only assume that the previous ones are a similar vibe.
I just scare easily. That's why I'm scared too to even like read some more and everything.
It's got some ghosts. It's got some cryptids. It's got a ton of history. It's got places to eat, places to stay, all throughout Tennessee and North Carolina in the Smoky Mountains.
I already know it's a hotbed for ghosts down in North Carolina. I ain't going anywhere near there.
Erica nopes out of a few different things because she's not a ghosty person. But it's definitely worth a read when that comes out. I think it officially gets released in June. But you should be able to pre-order it wherever you get your favorite books.
I wonder if the thing my niece was talking about is in there, because there's a general store in North Carolina. There used to be a funeral parlor. I was talking to Mark about it and everything, and I wonder if it's in there in North Carolina.
I don't remember. I do not recognize that as one of the stories. So
that's the one I want to find out about, because I will not set foot in there and everything.
There will probably be other books. Like there is they could have easily tripled the size of this book and still only scratched the surface just on, on Cherokee legends alone. Never mind.
Oh yeah, that skinwalkers.
Exactly. Some liver eaters. It's great. Anywho,
ew.
You don't know about those? Okay, you don't know the chupacabras. Those things. And stuff. Yeah,
that's not even one of them. Yeah,
I know. There's another one. I can't remember the name of it. Yeah.
Spearfinger. There's about 3 of them that are mentioned in the
That's
book.
what I'm saying. I got to be able to skim the chapter list, everything
Yeah.
and stuff like that, and I couldn't get the rest of it to download. And I was like, do I want to? Do I not want to? After reading some of the,
You want
okay.
to. Okay, so with that having been said, let's get into our reviews for this episode of Lucky Day. And since we are not doing the 3 Amigos, which is sad because that definitely does deserve a 10, we only got a 6. Tell us more. What worked, what didn't?
So if you
so my rating is 6. And I want to reiterate that because I'm about to give a whole bunch of different ratings that sort of factored into that in weird and abstract ways. Because upon first watching it, I was closer to an 8. I dug the episode. I liked it. I like the ideas behind it most. The thing I like most about it is the further development of Ruby as a character, going into, life after the Doctor. PTSD. It's a little weird that more of his companions don't have PTSD. So I give that part, all of that, a 9. And it's just absolutely heartbreaking when we get the turn in the episode and we find out that her post-Doctor life starting to actually be a life is all based on lies. That is just absolutely heartbreaking, and I love it because that also fantastic, just great character development. One of the things I'm gonna get to is Kate pushing things too far. We've seen it before. I don't like how they handled it in this one. I give that a 6. And then everything else about the episode is like the ideas that they raise, I'd give those a 9. The execution of them, I give it a 3 or a 4 because the problem is that they rushed everything. It's too heavy-handed for me. Because they're conflating trolls with actual with trolls, conspiracy theorists, and then people who legitimately just are raising questions about government malfeasance. The episode struck a nerve for me that just has been growing more and more raw over the last couple of years. I think I'm 2 or 3 movies behind with the Mission Impossible series. Ever since there was a movie where the big threat was trying to take down corrupt governments that are very clearly corrupt. In fact, they're revealed to be corrupt in the movie, but still the good guys are trying to take down the people trying to take down those governments because the movies are made by big rich white guys who automatically think they're the good guy being in charge. That makes sense for them to be in charge. And Conrad in this episode, I can see where he was coming from. The government keeps trying to cover up Canary Wharf and the alien involvement in these things. Some people know what they saw, but it's been handled a number of times that they blame it on swamp gas and whatnot, and your classic cover-up stuff. So of course there's going to be conspiracy theorists around the Doctor, especially as his exploits have gotten more and more prominent. And having them then not able to distinguish between real conspiracy cover-up. You've got Unit, which is out of the shadows and claiming to keep the world safe. Kate was about to nuke London. a number of years ago. She was just going to nuke it. And that brings us, I mean, that's an issue in both capacities where nobody ever mentioned that. I guarantee you that's not in UNIT's press releases. But UNIT has the power to do that. And no accountability to anyone about it, because they're the big boys, the daddies running the system. Yeah. It just doesn't make sense. But then also, Kate, we've already had Kate going too far in that instance to bridge into that topic. And this time they either handled it badly, or they just were, or they're building to something else with that, where Kate, I believe that most audience members would dislike Conrad, and frankly, most of our media, I in my opinion, has trained people to think, yeah, she let the Shreek out, it was going to kill him. I try to think I'm an enlightened person, but in my mind, I'm like, I want to see that happen. I do not want to see it get tased before that happens. I'm perfectly okay with him going down, and that is not a proper way to be thinking about it. So I just think if the point was to say that she is going too far again, they mishandled how hateful and awful Conrad is. Or was. And if the point is sometimes you have to make the hard choices, which has this whole baggage in particularly American pop culture, then they shouldn't have had people saying you've gone too far. So yeah. And yeah, I've basically blathered all of my ideas out there. I just don't have a nice button to put on it at the end. It just, the longer I think about it, the less I like how they handled it. These ideas deserved a lot more. Like, this should have been a season, really. This could have been the at least a subtextual element for an entire season, with Think Tank rising the way that Saxon did in the background and just calling things into question, getting society. And the fact that all of society, Conrad has raised all of society up against UNIT and the Doctor, and they're liars and it's a fraud, and then one video where he's being threatened by UNIT is enough to fix it? That is bad writing.
Fair.
Ouch. That's coming from David. Jeez.
Yeah. And again, as I've said before, I've said the pacing on this whole season has been a little bit of that, has been too fast. And part of that, I think, is that we are a different generation than those younger than us, obviously. But the younger generations have a shorter attention span. They want a faster pacing. And
I suppose.
So that's it's unfortunate we don't have someone of a young, someone in that Gen Z, Gen Alpha range. Because remember, Gen Z are pushing 30 now. They're not kids. They're in their mid-20s.
My niece is a Gen Zer.
Yeah. So I would like to see more of what those younger people have to say about the pacing specifically.
I suppose. I guess I don't really buy that it is necessarily, like, certainly my attention span has been diminished by devices and whatnot, but at the same time, I don't think it's that serious. Then again, I mean, I'm an old fart, so
yeah,
I'm not the one to judge either.
Younger people have always had a shorter attention span. That's why shows like Sesame Street worked. And we're
perfect. That is also very fair. Yes.
So they get me a dyslexic Muppet. I'm still mad at them.
I've got to disagree, because growing up, I watched Doctor Who and PBS when they were putting all the episodes together in 90-minute formats. And And we watched that whole series. Not only that, but the pacing was a little bit on the slow side. But if you were really watching it, you were seeing things like character development. You know, they were working on the story and stuff like that.
We also grew up with black and white TV. We also grew up with black and white TV. Most people today, like when my niece and nephew saw a black and white show, they were like, "What the hell is this?"
No, I know it's a different generation, but I think they're getting programmed. When I was watching Doctor Who, I mean, I had fast-paced shows, you know, Transformers, all those guys out there,
G.I. Joe, everything. Yeah.
But the show that I leaned on was Doctor Who, and this was a slower-paced show because, in my mind, as a kid when I was growing up, I felt more intelligent watching Doctor Who than any other show that was out there.
What about Dark Shadows?
I don't know how to explain it if that makes sense. Dark Shadows, I mean, mostly like any of the PBS shows. I mean, go ahead. Go ahead, Dave.
Well, no, this is something I've spent a lot of time thinking about just because I have my academic background. I do look at, and even though it's in English, I look at psychology and cognitive function and all that kind of stuff. And I have, kids don't know what they like. That's the thing. Kids, before they're introduced to media, they don't have media preferences. That is not a thing. And
that's true. That is
one
true.
of the things that drives me absolutely nuts is that when people say, "Oh, it's for kids," this incredibly stupid, terrible, god-awful movie, "Oh, it's for kids." Well, no, the only reason, like, what you're saying is nobody else will laugh at it because kids don't know that it's awful. They can't detect that yet. That's not a justification because there's, like, if you watch YouTube reactors, a lot of the younger ones, your Gen Z and whatnot, they will watch Gremlins. They'll watch Temple of Doom, the PG-13, the ones that inspired PG-13, and they'll, this movie is for kids? No, it's a family movie. That's the point. It's for everybody. It's not incredibly offensive. There's not even much cursing, and sometimes there is cursing. Monster Squad, where they talk like kids actually talk. And like their minds are being blown because they think kids' movies are something where there's nothing going on. You shouldn't be really interested in it. And it's also bland beyond belief. And that's what for kids. And so what's Christian's saying, like, yeah, if you give a kid Doctor Who, they can appreciate it. Maybe not all of them. It's always going to be an individual kind of thing. What resonates for you? Me, Real Ghostbusters was my jam when I was a kid.
Which Real Ghostbusters? Because there was the one that was based off the 70s TV show that became a cartoon.
That's where, number one, both of them.
Okay.
Real Ghostbusters was given the name Real Ghostbusters to differentiate it from Filmation's Ghostbusters,
which is based on the TV series with Casey and
And David, if I can expand on that one, and I'm sorry, Candyman, I'll give one. I just want to expand on this topic, but for what you said, there was I took aim at a certain Captain Marvel who went out because she did a movie, and she went out. I guess in an award ceremony that she said that, this movie was not meant for older gentlemen.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting there going like, so who was it meant for? Because I know it's for the kids, but how do you think those kids are getting into the theater? So I just never understood.
The girl in Power Rangers, the one with the little skimpy outfit.
But the thing is, when you make something, you want everybody to watch. When we make this show, we would love everybody on YouTube to watch. We would love how many million people watch. We know that no many people watch it, but we're still going to make it and appreciate anybody who comes by and just happens to watch it. And when you say about this was meant for kids, I was like, so what is that definition? Because the kids growing up when we were watching, which is PG now, would probably be considered too much for the kids today. And it's just we had nudity, we had language and all that stuff. That was
heavy metal cartoon that I have on my shelf right here.
Heavy metal
I was watching that. I was watching that. I was watching hentai, anime, heavy metal. I was watching Red Sonja. I was watching things that they would say is not appropriate for a young little girl back then. But I had a very cool uncle, and everything. And
well, we still watched it anyway.
Yeah, we were explained. It was explained to us.
Yeah, nobody explains anything anymore, though.
The reason why we watch things is because we knew how to operate the VCR. No one else in the family did.
Beta.
Okay. But I want to comment on David's comment because I will have to disagree because my nephew, who's probably about 12, 13, absolutely knows what he likes and what he doesn't like. And he even told me, he said, like, I watched that Bubble and he put me off on shooting Gatwa.
Is he Gen Alpha or Gen Z?
Well, yeah, but that's 12, 13. You've got a personality by then. I'm talking like, if you're talking about a kid's movie, you're usually talking somewhere between 3 and maybe 7. Usually, like a kid's movie, maybe up to 8 or 9.
Right.
And like, if before you present them with it, they don't really know what they like. And I mean, even as an adult, I still get exposed to things that I dislike instantly. And then I see it again and I'm like, oh, wait, I missed something because this is actually pretty dang good.
Yeah, but I think that's a thing, isn't it? It depends on A, what you've been told about something, B, whether or not it has basically been put out in the media or something like that is no good. But even basically what you have to do is test it for yourself, whether or not you like it or don't like it. But I know with my nephew and my niece will go on TikTok and watch literally streams after 5 seconds of shorts on TikTok or YouTube. When you try to put on, luckily they do have movie nights and there was culture for movie nights. But I've got another friend who's got a kid who doesn't do TV, doesn't do films, just does YouTube and gaming. So it really depends on the actual child, to be perfectly honest with you. So what you classify it as a kids movie, I perfectly agree. It may not be a kids movie, but I do think that certain kids, probably at the age of 9, know what they like and what they dislike.
And there's a difference between saying it's a kids movie or it's a kids show and it's not made for X generation. In the case of Captain Marvel, Carol Danvers had been Captain Marvel for 10 years before she came out. Like, it had been a while, but there is an older generation of people who have no idea that she was ever Captain Marvel. Their Captain Marvel was a blonde-haired, blue-eyed dude. And
the one
be all and end all, and that's where their experience ended. That's why she said that, and that's why even if you look at Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, there's versions that are vastly not really intended for kids.
1983 comic, yeah.
Exactly. And there are others that are very much designed for a younger audience. They're into that style of animation, that are into that. That's not saying it's for a 4-year-old. That is saying it's that, let's call it 8 to 15. We'll skew the actual
I did a school project back in the 90s about the television rating system. I actually have a list of all the cartoons, and I have an age range for each cartoon that my teacher gave me an A+ on. And then a week later, we get the rating system that we got from the 90s, where it's TV violence, V7 or PG7 and everything. And that was a psychology project I did for my senior class in high school and everything, because people kept arguing with me about why I liked anime, that they have a different genre of ages and everything. Like hentai, you don't show unless you realize it's hentai and everything. But like the same thing what's going on today. Parents don't talk anymore. Nobody talks about what's on television. So every kid has to go like I did. Okay, do I watch 3-2-1 Contact, Electric Company, or do I watch heavy metal, or do I watch this or anything? Sesame Street was on for my sister and everything, but it was more, I gravitated more to the science shows. I love the science part of things and stuff, and the animation part of things. Whereas my sister gravitated to more art stuff and everything. So it was just like, depending on what was on there, but it was explained to us and everything. I remember watching Teen Witch and didn't realize someone had to explain to me a certain scene in there that they were doing and everything and stuff, and certain things they were talking about in class and everything. And I still was like lost and everything because I was still like 10 years old, and stuff like that. But I understood that something happened, but you know.
Hey,
I should probably clarify. Like, I'm also not talking about content really. I saw a lot of stuff that was inappropriate, but I was also a fairly sheltered child in general. I didn't get into horror properly until I was 19. I always had a fascination with it. I've got a post on crossingthethemes.wordpress.com all about my very weird relationship with horror. But I'm talking about storytelling. I'm talking about media appreciation, media interpretation. I'm talking about depth of narrative and understanding, like as Christian mentioned earlier, watching Doctor Who, and you're getting into character development, deeper themes that are being brought up, and teasing that out, and that is where really your attention span comes in. You have to be able to understand a text as a whole to see where certain themes recur. Like in a piece of music, you'll play this theme here, then you'll play it a little bit different here, and how is that commenting on it, all that kind of thing. And that is what kids don't get. They're getting, I mean, I hated the Super Mario Brothers movie. I really did. Dave Chapman can attest to this. I actually said, and I will say it again, the Bob Hoskins version is better.
Oh yeah,
it's terrible, but it's better than the new one.
We're going to agree on that. Yeah. But this being said, let's get back to the topic at hand, because this is great. Tom, write this down. This is a Spill the Geek Tea episode right now.
Yeah.
So mark down this. But that being so there we go. So next up at a 7. There we go. Spill the Geek Tea with Tom and Mark and me, and timescales, and occasionally some other people.
Everybody get out your power strips. We got plugs coming. So.
Exactly.
What am I supposed to write down? What?
An animation.
Kids in animation and
the genres: Gen X, Gen Z, Gen M, Millennial.
Plus 15 minutes of our conversation that we just
Greg, write this down. I can't.
Oh, yeah.
What time is it? Okay, it's a time period.
Gadget.
57.
You gave this a 7.
Yes.
What worked? What didn't for you?
Okay, first of all, the you had that short little skit of the Vindicator and everything and stuff, right? And everything, because here you meet in 2007, you got a young Conrad and everything with a mother that likes to be very forceful, we'll put it that way, because she keeps saying, because he kept saying, look at this, the aliens, the everything and stuff, and so stop with these lies and everything and stuff. And the doctor giving him the 50p and all the other, right, and everything. And them introducing themselves because she wanted, but he was scared, but he wasn't. He was curious and everything and stuff like that and everything. But you got to remember, he said he was about, 8 years old then, 7 or 8 years old at that time and everything. But didn't something happen prior to that with the 9th Doctor during that time frame or anything? With like the aliens or the Big Ben or something was going on and everything. So he had to have seen something for his mother to keep saying that he's lying all the time and stuff. So what does that do to you growing up? You either have a choice. You can either suppress it or you can run with it and say, okay, I'm going to prove to people that everybody's lying. Everybody's lying. They say I'm lying. Let me prove I'm lying. Then you get this where he's hunting down Ruby and everything because he heard tales of the Doctor. He's been following the Doctor. So you figure from 2007 on, he's been following the Doctor, trying to disprove all the stuff that's been happening through London, happening through Coulson, happening through like all of Northern, whatever, UK and everything. And then he just happens to stumble upon the police box. Just happens one day to stumble upon it and then gets slimed and everything by the gatekeeper and everything and stuff. Because I swear I thought I was watching Ghostbusters, seeing the Keymaster and the gatekeeper right there. And everything, because that puppy looks like one from the Ghostbusters and everything. But it was like just getting slimed and then given the candy floss, which was not candy floss, antidote and everything. It was just too rushed through that whole scene. And if everybody remembers, that was actually from the scene with Rose and the 9th Doctor trying to get out, because that's where Rose worked and everything and stuff and everything. And it was like, okay, fine and great and everything, but why was he hunting her down? Why was he hunting Ruby down? And then it's like, oh, wait, now we see the podcast, Lucky Day. And he says, okay, now I can prove that I wasn't lying. That's the impression I got first. I'm like, oh my God, a podcaster can prove they're not lying. You know, there is the truth to things. There's something going to be said and everything. You got to keep it a little secret, but just to let you know that people are out there helping us and everything, or there's things around that we can't talk about because either it can hurt you later or it can cause a problem because there are so many gullible people out there, or people that will run with an idea and be like, oh, this is fact and everything, but then not realize that that's not really fact. It might have been a half truth and everything. So all this stuff, but what threw me off was the damn romance thing, because at first I'm like, okay, she's moving on, everything, it's really cool and stuff, but I could see right then that he was pumping her for information. He was basically like too sweet. It was too sweet because he was just too sweet. Like, the questions he was asking her, the way he was and everything, but she was so lost because the doctor wasn't there. All she had been doing was like traveling. Her world had changed and everything. She got 2 mums now. She's got all this stuff. So she's finally thinking life is getting better after seeing the end of the world, after dealing with being eaten by what was that, a bass drum or whatever it was, or a piano or something and everything. Like, she just was trying to have a normal life and everything, only to be dragged into somebody's world that everybody's fake. Everybody's lying to us. Everyone is like, and then you have the whole world of podcasters. You have the whole thing of this and everything. And it's just like #unit lies, everything and stuff. But sometimes you can't know the truth. It could hurt you more than anything, especially when you get your arm bitten off and everything. But basically, it just was more upsetting seeing her get hurt than him talking about lies, because he could be next day's news and everything and stuff, because something else big could happen and everything. But when Kate was saying how, God forbid, Prime Minister gets a time door and everything or something, there's the end of the world right there, that all this, and that Geneva's downgrading their security, Mel's in Sydney dealing with something in the sea and everything, hint and everything, and all this stuff. But poor Ruby is just sitting there in shock because she thought everything was going to be good, and it ends up, that picture is horrible, but ends up with like again, she can't win. She's like, she thinks it's going to be better, and then it's like she just needs to get away. Like, maybe all the companions go through this. They all end up either being aides to the doctor like this when the doctor's not around, or they just go into seclusion and just try to deal with the PTSD of it. But what really was the fact that the first time a podcaster or a YouTuber or whatever he was finally got to see the truth, and the truth just bit him literally and everything. And imagine if he should have taken that antidote, because I was thinking when the pheromones kicked in and everything, I'm surprised that thing wasn't chasing him all around everything. But when when the doctor showed up and everything was the other thing, and that speech that the doctor gave about cowards and using our fears against us and using things to twist, because there are that type of people out there that are that gullible and everything, that he's trying his best to protect. What if it was somebody else trying to protect for you? What if it was somebody else that didn't want to, like a philanthropist or somebody that was trying to make something better for somebody, and you go and ruin that and everything, you know? But the way the coldness of like him, the way Conrad's, like, he just was like, he had no soul. He had nothing. It was either he was broken from the day his mother did that to him on camera, because I don't know if we can say that she and everything and stuff like that, because I love how he lied about her dying, and the next thing you know, she's got a villa in France and everything, and I'm sitting here in a broken apartment in the Bronx and everything and stuff, you know, and all that stuff, and he's a tax dodger, you know, and everything. But it's like that. But then to see Mrs. Flood say she's the governor and everything, and I'm like lost after that, because there was too many cuts, there was too many things, too many of like a story within a story and everything. But more so, it was like it could have been 3 different episodes in this. But when Brigadier's daughter, oh, please don't piss her off, don't ever do that, don't. That was like I love that, because I like when she gets mad, because nobody else gets mad. She gets mad, and when she gets mad, don't piss her off and everything. you know, and don't talk about her father that way, you know.
Mhm.
I think that's what did it. I think that's what made Kate go over the edge, because Brigadier tried and everything, but he never went over the edge. But her, one little thing will, and that's why I'm wondering with this new season coming out, because everything that was mentioned in there about that they're going to be downgraded, they're moving everything and stuff and all that, the security clearance and all that, but it was too quick for the hashtag unit and everything. But I think when people do see the truth, sometimes people do wake up because of the flooding of everything, you know, especially when he gets, yeah,
Exactly.
yeah. But that speech the doctor gave, and I wish we could have that. It's just like the kindness speech. Be kind, you know, push the button like the 12th Doctor had.
Mhm.
This was another one. That should be up there with that.
I agreed.
Mm-hmm.
Mark.
Yes.
You
me.
gave it a 7.1. Now we're splitting down the TARDIS eye here.
Yeah.
You gave it a 7.1.
But like I said, after first watching it on Saturday, I did give it an 8 for my initial thing. But after rewatching it, there's certain things that just didn't gel for me. Okay, so the first thing, okay, it was written by Peter McTighe, and he does all the Blu-ray collection. And so I was trying to find out when did he actually wrote this episode? Because if it was a year ago, then that might explain why we've got this story. Because in the UK, there was a lot of civil unrest over certain things, what happened in the UK, and basically led to a lot of social media tweets and stuff like that becoming sort of outlaw in the UK. So we don't have a freedom of speech law to protect us in the UK like you do in the US. And so that could be a reason why this episode was written. One of the things I did not like was I'll use Gadget's description of those monsters, the gatekeeper monsters, which was basically throwing up the vomit of their thing and hunting on the prey. And the problem is they've already used this in a really dodgy K9 spin-off called K9 Adventures for the Australian one. I think they called it the Jinx. Did exactly the same thing. They basically threw up on a person, which basically allows them to track them. I was like, why would you rewrite that again? We've already had this. To come up with something different. And so that's, I was going to put it down. The whole thing going to the pub in the middle of like thing, it felt very much 73 yards to start off with. And I was just like, okay, where are we going? Where are we going? Where are we going? Okay. And yeah, we all know that Conrad was going to be a douchebag. Yes, I say, I'm bringing the word back. I'm bringing that word back. Conrad is
it can be said on YouTube, yes.
Okay.
Bringing sexy back.
Douchebag.
Well, he did hang around a lot of smelly fish, you know.
But it did come up with some philosophical questions. It was like, okay, I'll get to the unit bit in a moment, but it did come up with a thing about, should we know the truth? Should the government protect us? But if the government is lying to us, shouldn't we know the actual truth? And there's so many philosophical questions you can deep dive in, which will take hours, and we ain't got time to do it on this show, just by talking about each of these certain things. And this is what caused a lot of problems in the UK as well. And this is why I was writing, thinking, okay, did Pete write this at the time of everything happening in the UK? And if that did, then that would make sense why we got a sort of disjointed episode. I did like the twist. I must admit, it was from going from a little love story, romance story, into a full-on conspiracy military operation. Let's take down the government. That was a nice twist, and I do miss that in Doctor Who, because you don't normally get that complete switch around of sort of genres you get in Doctor Who. So let's give it a little bit up. Unlike Dave, I actually love Jemma Redgrave going completely. The Doctor's not here. You took the mickey out of my dad. Now you see how pissed I am. Yep, I'm going to use that. I'm sorry. You YouTube strike me. but he was literally it pushed.
It's striking me, dude. You're making checks I can't cash here.
You can't handle the truth.
You get your arm bit off.
But I love that little scene where you actually see a picture of her dad on her table in battlefield dress, where he's in the I'm sure that was battlefield uniform. She got sitting on the table when she was speaking to Ruby, and that little nod to that little Easter egg just put me thinking about, and just having. I'm sure Kate Bruce is just a workaholic. She's staying there that night. Something's not right. Something's going wrong with Unit in the background. We don't know what's going on because she said she's staying lights.
She didn't mind staying if you saw her wink.
Yeah, I know.
No one caught that one, right?
Yeah, no, we got that one, but
Okay.
there might be other things as well which might be going on as well, because she didn't, even though she winked at the guy, as the commander, she didn't. Her posture wasn't that thing. She was just concentrating on work. Okay. One thing I didn't like was the mole. If you got that much of a secret organization, you'll do vetting, and you wouldn't have a mole that much. Okay. Especially with UK security as it is, man, you can't even walk down the street without getting picked up on camera.
Well, I was laughing at the robot ditching as soon as the thing got released. Like,
Well,
I'm out. Bye.
Yeah, I can understand that, because it basically plays around with electrics and shorts it. The robot's running off electrics. Of course, it's going duck and dive. So in the end, I had to drop it down. I think the whole unit, the whole conspiracy, whether or not should the government tell us the truth or should the government be lied to us to protect us, is a deep question, and I think we'll never get to the answer to this. Doesn't matter who gets in the government; it's always going to be the same. What we know and what we don't know are two different things, or what they're telling us. So I don't want to get political on this show. So let's move over to Tom and see what he has to say.
That seems like a reasonable thing to do. At 7.99.
Because Mark had 8, so I went below.
He tricked them.
I feel like
I'm sorry, Tom.
We're at the prices right already.
I'm going to go 8.88. Well, I'm not going political either. I should. No, I said, well, it's enough that we have Mark, so yes, bring out religion, but political, no. Should that... Okay, off topic. I said 8. I said 7.99 because for my short attention span, it was enjoyable just because get everything out there. The fact that that guy is a scumbag, and he got what he deserved, which we thought. And the speech from the doctor, I enjoyed the speech from the doctor. I heard that people were not into that, but sometimes people need to be told things because they don't get it through their head. So for me, it was just another unique Doctor Who speech, telling how this guy, what was going to happen. Mrs. Flood coming in, said, "What are you doing?" "Oh, I'm the governor," quote unquote, wink, wink, nudge, nudge, letting him out. So that would say, okay, this douchebag is going to be really shown again and continually doing what he's doing. This is what, like as Mark said, it had to have been done from last year. It mirrors everything. But it also mirrors everything reality TV. People want to focus on that. Everything's a podcast. People want to hear all the negative things all the time. And that's what gets the ratings. That's what gets everything onto it and gets them money people send to them. So I don't approve of that. From my stuff, it's, word of mouth, post message boards. Here, we're trying to do something positive here, not this thing. To see how he treated Ruby is like, well, utterly despicable, of course. The whole, I hear the drums playing. I don't know. The idea is, okay, he's seen the TARDIS. He knows what's going on. He's trying to point out this is happening. And it turns out, well, he just wants to flip it and be a real scumbag and
create a paradox.
Because that's what people want. Every time you say something positive, say, oh, yawn, yawn, give us something disgusting, like something dirty. As Don Henley used to saying, give us dirty laundry. That's what people want. And that's what eventually came to. So he may have started with good intentions, but otherwise, the whole Kate losing it, who wouldn't? I mean, for God's sakes. She's a strong woman taking care of everything, and every little things are falling apart. They can see everything going on. They know if everything's going on, and everything's dropping. Well, the government's doing this, the government's doing that, which, based on other things, sure, but this is UNIT. UNIT has protected everyone, and why are you doing this? Just to get the freaking ratings from these? Dare I say it? Knuckle dragging dirt. What's that? How do you say? What I say every day at work? Dirt eating, knuckle dragging, inbred, swamp twats. I edited that down because it's all about
douchebags.
Douchebags. Your scumbags.
Well, he did mention Belinda to the doctor before the doctor even met, so that was even wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah, he doesn't know rules for time travel.
Yeah, he sees the doctor.
And that
he
may be important too.
That's what I'm saying. He's a spoiler.
They like to do crap like that. Oh, look at all these things happening. Oh, yeah, I'm so popular. Oh, I'm going to make this the best podcast ever. It's the greatest podcast of every podcast. I don't know. I don't remember those things. I'm just saying I'm clearing my throat.
Every podcaster says that. All 1 billion of us say the same thing. We're gonna make this. We're gonna be the best.
Well, you see Big Ben behind him on the picture there and everything. That's what I was mentioning about. Like, he knew what was going on and everything.
It's always twisting things. That's what people want to do. That's how we see all the. I will say it. We see all these other groups that have all these high numbers. I'm watching them saying, "What?" And with Kenny of Kenzo's Creations, my friend, moderator, co-host for the show, he sees that too. We talk about these things, saying, "Well, this one person we know of is always negative," and that's what brings all those high numbers in. And here, Kenny and I and Grego, we're just trying to, this is what we do. We're just having fun with the whole thing, and the numbers cool, but it's our therapy, everything we do. We just want to make light of everything. When I do my raves and rants in my personal show, I get people laughing. I get people, I understand that, and that's bring it there. So it's sadly it's not what I really need to do. It is bringing in people. It's like, oh, I agree with you there. I agree there because we're on the same level. But I do need to throw in something positive, saying, we got, just.
Could it be the generation the way it is because they'd rather have people pranking and going to jail after for it? Because someone did that in a supermarket and sprayed bug spray on something and got in trouble for that. Even though he got millions of ratings, he finally got caught, So would you rather risk that than, be honest with
and stupid garbage like that. That's what it's all come to be. We're on set of all these other horrible things that are going to happen, and we're just avoiding it by going, oh, let's throw something on TikTok and do a 15th.
Well, if I could add to this, Tom, I remember, I don't know who the comedian was, but he says, we're not the society anymore that cares about the Boy Scout helping the little old lady cross the street. We're the society now that cares about that same Boy Scout beating up the woman, stealing her money, and then running off with it.
Oh, you mean the knockout punch thing they do here in New York, where they just walk by and punch you, and
well,
that gets more ratings than anything.
The idea is, where do you get your news? And nobody wants the positive stuff. Everybody wants
dirty laundry.
Everybody likes dirty laundry. That's why there's some people who are on. And that's the thing, because I know a lot of these podcasters, some of them are really legit. They have negative things to say. But I don't, there's one thing where they're just there are certain people who just come out, hate, and their numbers go up. I'll use an example. I know people think he's controversial, but the Critical Drinker, I actually like him. If you listen to what he has to say, it's not all about hate. He actually goes into details to movies and such and really gets it. He liked Wicked. Everybody expected him to hate Wicked. He goes, no, I liked it. So I mean,
have you read the book?
I have not read the book.
They cut out a lot of things. That's why I think if he had seen
I've been thinking that he's looking from the perspective as a movie, and he said, no, it wasn't a bad movie. I actually liked it. So, but everybody, the naysayers on his side, his audience, I know they were probably expecting him to say something bad about it. He doesn't like the actors, but he did like the movie. And can somebody knowingly, separate the two? So, I mean, that's the kind of thing. We do live in a society now where it's, they want negative. And I think that's the hardest thing about also what we used to be our heroes. Like, I'm not saying present company included, but, the U.S. president, everybody expects the president of the United States to be this ultra perfect person, but they're human. So when they screw up, everybody wants to delve at them like gargoyles.
They go back in history. They were not that nice, the presidents. You know what they did and what they had.
No, that's what I'm saying. They were human. I meant going from George all the way up to the Don. I meant these guys were human, but our perception is they got to be perfect. I mean, one slip up, even an apology is considered something of a weakness. So they have to play this game to where they have to look perfect across the board. And I think I'm really pushing this, but I think as a society, that's kind of shameful. If somebody screws up, we got to give them the leeway to say it. Now, if they screw up and they don't learn anything, that's a different story. But yeah, everything is trial and error. I mean, this is a country that is still growing, still developing. We're going to F up, and we're going to F up later on. We've F'd up before. The thing is this point, we don't repeat the F. Yeah, not bad. Look how far we've come. Look what the technology has brought us. Look at the things. Yeah, there's a lot of things we could do to make right, but we got to be at least appreciative that we're in a course to make things better along the way. And everybody looks at us as the number one country, and it's like, well, everybody wants to take out number one. That's my opinion on that. But
I agree.
Can I ask a quick question? Because I've seen it from my nephew. Can fake positive stuff be worse than negative truth?
What do you mean?
So, like, say for example, when
you faith, like faith as with the R word?
Fake positive.
Oh, fake.
Yeah, so when a show's like really, really like so positive, so happy, so great, it becomes corny and it becomes not real, not trustworthy because it's too positive. Like what I've seen with my nephew. When
what show would that be?
Like just on like YouTube, where like my nephew's basically trying to get a body of a bodybuilder because it's so fake positive.
Well, yeah.
I know what he's talking. Okay.
I would talk more about like just about any workplace I've ever been in. Thank God I'm using an alias. Because toxic positivity is a massive problem in North American corporate culture. You can't ever say anything. You can't acknowledge any weakness in the company. There's very obvious things wrong that you can confront, the fact that I kept bringing them up and solving what I could is part of why I got let go, because I was told many times, well, if the instructions come down from on high, you have to present them as if they're your ideas. I'm like, no, it comes down from on high. It means we do it, but I'm not going to say I'm an idiot for you. I'm not going to claim that I think that I actually think that storing the owner's boat in our warehouse over the winter and then having our Christmas dinner where you're going to announce that our raises this year are $0.25 each is a good PR move.
I worked for the DMV. I plead the fifth because you just made an honest case about why I got let go.
So like toxic positivity is well, toxic.
Mhm.
And to go to what you're talking about, Candyman, I mean, I feel that every time I watch Iron Man, and like
Which
Robert
one?
Downey Jr. takes his shirt off, and like, yeah, I would like to look like that. I don't know why. Most women prefer the dad bod in the first place, but yeah, there's something about that. Like, I back when I was dumb enough to think that I would ever look like that at all. Yeah, put that on while you're working out. It's motivation. I'm never gonna look like that.
When I was acting, they had me as a toothpick, and I hated it. My wrists
I don't
were
have 7
thin,
hours a
everything. I got
day
picture. I'm
to
like, no, I hated
work
it.
out.
Well, David, on top of that, what you're mentioning, Candyman, let me see, give you a different perspective on this. David, you can help me on this. I think the movie was The Man Who Shot Liberty Valance. And it was the ending line where they said, if you were going to print the myth, please help me out. I'm trying to remember the line. I only see that.
Oh, God.
If you print the myth or the truth, you print the myth or something like that.
It's been so long since I've seen it.
Yeah,
I can't remember what it was.
62, right?
Well, you know what I'm talking about. Yeah. We're talking about, was it
well, like my
James
academic
Stewart.
work is all about myth and how it affects, especially has been used in pop culture. So I would derail us significantly if I actually went into this.
Yeah. Let's come
Yeah,
back to the
bring in
rails
the
here.
private chat. I think that's what you
no, I got it. I see it. When the truth
Yeah.
becomes legend, print the legend. That was it. So,
yeah. So,
yeah.
As we bring this back into the Doctor Who and the episode Lucky Day.
Well, it does relate because you got old Who, new Who, and middle Who.
Yeah. But this is part of why I gave the rating I'm going to give. I gave this an 8 on first watch. And I've waffled back and forth on what I wanted to give it. And even during this episode, whether I wanted to change it and drop it. And a lot of the arguments, the fact that this episode has thrown us off the rails not once but twice, has cements the fact I'm giving it an 8. I debated dropping it down, but this episode made me uncomfortable. And that's not specifically and inherently a bad thing. I think that Kate went too far. Kate knows she went too far. I think the ramifications of Kate going too far, we're going to see in the Battle for Land and Sea. Sea and Land? See, the spinoff that's coming.
Yeah.
There was
The
a
war
lot of
between the land and the sea.
rumors and whatnot. Excuse me. Out there about the show being canceled because the unit set was getting dismantled. Well, we've already seen through this episode, there are people above unit that control, not necessarily control unit, but definitely have their fingers above it, ready to squash or something with it. Their security's been downgraded. It got downgraded, and then she crossed the line. I can certainly see where that will come back to bite unit in the butt. Similarly with Mrs. Flood, something's, clearly she's doing something with Conrad. I don't think he can really show himself all that publicly because everybody knows he went to jail for a very long time. And rightfully so. Even if he was right, he deserved to go to jail for a very long time at that point. Just based on his actions. I liked how I loved that they've completely turned us on our head. He seemed really nice and really wasn't. And I know people like that. I have met people who have gone about, presented themselves publicly as one thing, and are shown to be completely false in their beliefs, in their actions. And a lot of it just made me look at current day politics, again, we know that this episode was written several years ago. We don't know exactly when necessarily, but just because it was filmed several, at this point, 2-3 years ago now, we know that this is not addressing today's politics. The fact that it is still relevant to today's politics speaks to the quality of the issue, them addressing these issues. That several years before this stuff is happening, they bring it up. It's unfortunate that it came true. It had a similar thing when if you watch, just to take us off the rails a little bit, the series She-Hulk. For better or worse, whatever you may think of She-Hulk, there's a sequence in there where all the internet is blowing up and ripping at her and nipping and nip, which is exactly what happened. Almost word perfect, some of these comments coming out of people. But again, this was written and filmed years before. It wasn't like it wasn't South Park where they had a week-long turnaround for something new. Oh, people didn't like the show, so we're going to integrate that. No, we know there's a certain demographic and we know exactly what they're going to say. And it's a similar sort of thing here in that he's got his audience. He managed to blow up, as things do, again, for better or for worse. When something goes viral, it goes viral. And it can change. So I think and I love that scene, this scene right here, the doctor's speech, we see again the bubbling fury underneath this very happy doctor. This doctor is not toxic positive, but is a very positive doctor. We've not seen a doctor this generally happy since probably Tom Baker. And we get scenes like this one where you see the old doctor, the fury that is being held back from him. And the only thing I didn't like about this was how, okay, sure, we've seen the TARDIS land on top of somebody and bring them inside. We've seen that before. The snap at the end, that was for effect, but I didn't like it because that was not an effect that has ever been shown, to my knowledge, that I can think of.
When he snapped to open the door, I know that.
Yeah.
Snapped to open the door, sure. Yeah. But snap to just completely disappear and dematerialize and leave someone behind.
Didn't he do that with that kid with his head with the noose? He snapped his fingers and he opened up.
He's snapped.
Amy and Rory, he did the landed the TARDIS where they're putting the light bulb in.
Yeah, I know who you're talking about, and
I'm trying to think of all the. Yeah.
Snapping as an effect is not a new thing for Doctor Who, but that particular dematerializing, leaving someone behind, we have 61 years of. It takes a few minutes of wah 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 because the parking brake's on.
Yep.
Yeah. Thank you, River.
That really bugged that bugged me. But most of it just made me uncomfortable. But in an introspective way, I had to address why it made me uncomfortable. And I think that's good. It was a thinky episode. And again, I think the pacing was a little bit off. And yes, it could. I think had this been a 2-part episode or a 90-minute episode or a whole season or a mini series, I think that would have been maybe too long. Maybe a 2-parter, maybe having some elements of think tank in there and pushing it up. I think if we had that, I think people would have been off the rails complaining about it. Because we've got both ends of this candle burning, of people complaining that it's, us saying, well, the pacing's off, it's going too fast. But anytime that there's been any element of suspense or multi-episode or multi-season,
Well, didn't they say they were filming this the same time they were filming Robots?
They filmed
Both episodes were filmed at the same time on the two different sound stages.
probably. I think you might be right. There was definitely something that was, and it would make sense that they would be doing this being a Dr. Light episode. It makes sense that they would have filmed it. We know that the 2 seasons were filmed effectively back to back. There was a little break in between them, but I think that the fact that it is, we have both sides of the coin there. What pick your metaphor, because I've thrown 3.
You mean a 50p that he holds?
We have people saying this is moving too fast. Yet we have people complaining every time we have something thinky, and every time we have something that requires attention span, they flip out about it. Oh, this is horrible writing because we don't know the answer at the end of the episode.
We got an answer at the end of this episode, technically.
I don't.
We
think
got a paradox. We got a paradox because where is this doctor in the timeline of Ruby and this season? Because Belinda, who's Belinda? Spoilers.
Yeah, and I loved that. I actually did love that. I love that they addressed the fact that the doctor, that this doctor, they could have done it with 2 different doctors just as easily, but to have him have that wibbly wobbly timey wimey bit of him,
because he said in Robots,
not knowing who Belinda is. But having mentioned at the beginning of this that he had already been told, he knew she would be important. Right? That was one of the first things he said about it. I knew you'd be important. I'd heard. So this is setting up that going back to the beginning. And I do really like that. I love that they've gone, right? He already knew that Belinda was going to be important to him because
he said he couldn't tell him because it would be a timey-wimey thing.
Told, you don't even know who this person is, do you? Who?
Speaking of
because he met him in 2007 as a 8-year-old.
So Conrad happened to meet this doctor later in this doctor's timeline, but this doctor doesn't necessarily recognize older Conrad as younger Conrad, because why would you? And they explicitly didn't show that. Like, he had no recognition of that.
And the doctor caused lucky day by saying it's your lucky day.
Yeah, like there's nothing there that would be. There's no reason for him to recognize him. It was such a quick we see it in an hour, but it hadn't happened yet for that doctor. That doctor is dealing with Ruby. And the short amount of time between that. For him, it may well have been 30 seconds after. He may have gone from, dropping Ruby off to having tea and popping in and seeing all this go down through timey-wimey and going in and going, oh, you boy.
Too?
Sorry?
Could this have happened during the Christmas special too? Because remember, he was by himself.
Yep, that's exactly when it would have happened. Is not necessarily during, but in that time frame between end of Ruby and beginning of Belinda, we know that there was a time frame in there.
Let's go back to episode 1 though, because they did show him holding Belinda when she was a little baby. So it was as quick shots when they did that whole contact
mind
thing.
meld.
Mind meld. So it wasn't he? I'm thinking I want to go back just to fast forward and see, was that the same shirt he was wearing? Because I swear that's the same shirt.
It's possible. He definitely in the yeah. I'm not sure about that. I mean, certainly in the hospital when we first see them together, that's not the same.
No,
what we had. But yeah, it's so there's a lot more here than what we think there is, and I think that's good. And we'll probably get most of those things paying off down the road. We also know that these 2 seasons were filmed not just back to back, but essentially as one season. They were meant to be one story arc. 16 episodes is
a normal
season for most things. Not necessarily a normal British series, but in context of most series, 6 to 8 is on the low end, 10 to 16 is more standard even in today's streaming schedules.
Yeah.
So yeah, I gave it an 8 because of all of the reasons that we didn't necessarily like it. I gave it a higher rating because I didn't like it. If that makes any sense at all. What did we have for the audience, Christian? Saying what scores? If you haven't already given your rating in the comments, please drop those in there. Well, and I think we also have another. Do we have another written one for you, Christian?
I think it's coming in.
Faith also do a review?
I'll throw this into the chat. I'll throw this there. First of all, want to thank this person, Dr. Hubian90, who gave us a super chat during the watch feed. And if you guys want to support the channel, of course, yeah, go ahead and send in your super chats and such like that. It will definitely help the channel grow as we continue to amass our audience, but also tell, if you don't have the means, tell a friend just to subscribe. It helps us out a great deal. Ramona, my mind went straight to downtime. Yeah. Was it apparent that this would be a Kate and Ruby story? I'm going to give it a 7.5. So also Ncuti says 7.5 as well. I love the plot twist and to see what chaos Flood and Conrad are going to generate. Roger says someone said Lucky Day was Love and Monsters 2. I've heard that a lot. I gave it an 8 out of 10 for the unit scene, and Conrad is a 2.
Yeah.
I told you I've started something. I've rekindled douchebag for the.
Oh, great, thanks, and on my show too, of all places. Thanks, I really, really appreciate that.
There you go, Christian. You can.
Do I see it on my show?
Anytime, pal. Was Conrad supposed to be a podcaster like Tom?
Oh, hell no.
No insulting, Tom. Don't make me go Mama Bear Kate on you.
Oh, hell no. Because I will rant. I do my raves, rants, reviews. Like I said, I do my rants about what we had to deal with, but I don't go about saying anything else. I don't. Do I? I don't know anymore. But
well, that's a new cosplay. It's going to be.
Hey, white T-shirt. Hey,
think tank.
It's an authentic Beatles White Album T-shirt.
I don't know if anybody remembers, what was it, the superhero movie, and there was that song and the guy, douchebag, he's the douchebag of the year. Ain't he great, ain't he grand, it's the douchebag of the year. The fact that I know the lyrics is kind of scary. What does the Shreek remind you of? Yeah, everybody I think said it best. Gozer. Yeah, Gozer's kids. Gadget. Oh, Gadget, what are you doing in here? Well, we got the answer there. I'm glad I'm keeping up with things there. Nico Bad recommends the special effects have improved. I just threw these in here because I rarely see Mort or Joe come in, but I'm glad they were here. I think we'll be seeing more of Think Tank. Gotcha.
Probably.
Yeah.
Did you guys and gals know that Alan Rickman almost played the Doctor with Courtney Cox playing the companion in the 90s? Capaldi almost had the role too.
Mm-hmm.
That would have been his first. He would have been the 8th Doctor.
Mm-hmm.
And he was also being tapped for Deep Space Nine as Cisco.
Mm-hmm.
So interesting enough. Yep, he was. I had to look that up. Trust me, I had to look that up. I think the Slider Snafu might have been the better route as opposed to Doctor becoming an American TV series. Just saying, technically, it was a Canadian TV series.
Yes.
But yeah, it was Canada bred.
Yep. And I've been to several of those
backyard.
locations.
But US produced.
Yes.
It's US produced.
Let's have some Canada bread.
A Canadian mother with an American father. How's that sound? Does that work for you?
Well, he said his mother was human, right? Yeah.
And Sega just, yes, thank you. Thank you for the like and subscribe. If you happen, please go ahead. Me and Dave think alike, giving this episode an 8. And then this question popped up. I'm going to go back to the live feed in just a moment. Hey, Dave, Christian Dave.
Dave 2.
Dave 2.
I approve of this.
I call him Grizzly.
How do you know which one you are?
Which one's, yeah, exactly. Which one's Dave 2 out there? Gadget Tom Candyman question: If Doctor Who does go off the air for a while, will you program go reviewing the classic Doctor Who in the modern Doctor Who episodes. Like, yeah, I can answer that. We're currently right now when it goes back into rest time, whether that be rest for for a short time or rest for an indefinite period of time. We are currently reviewing what we call Classic New Who, and then we're going to Classic Who. But we got a lot of stuff going on. We still have guests and things coming up out here. So
and throw it out there if Shooty wants to come on, if any of the guys want to come on.
Yeah, I ain't stopping these guys from coming on, but yeah, if they want to come on, that's
any old Who, new Who, anybody wants to come on, promote the show, anything like his play that's out there, come on, just come on,
Yoo-hoo, baby.
Oh gosh, somebody's throwing shade at you, Tom. I mean, they're really throwing shade.
Well, he's not wrong.
Hacker. Oh,
yeah.
I wish, but he's not wrong.
And the time shade continues on. We went to some film locations but could not find them because my phone was lost, but I got it back. Okay, cool. Well, I'm glad you got your phone back, Time. And that was all the super chats. But Dave, I just had a couple questions for you. You were mentioning the Doctor. I thought that was the whole character of the Doctor, was that we knew he was happy-go-lucky. Almost doesn't matter what regeneration. But when you push his buttons, or in one case her buttons, best one was like the family blood. When you pull out the space god into him, he really goes completely crazy.
Oh, I hate
that's specifically what I wanted him to do to Conrad. Actually, like
you wanted to
it's not that I don't think I'm not on Kate's side going full Kate, but I think that I'm not supposed to think that way. So I understand why the Doctor couldn't, but I wanted him to go family of blood.
You won't go Time Lord Victorious. That's a thing, isn't it?
Well, we know what's inside. But you were mentioning that, like the fourth Doctor, he's happy-go-lucky. But I think it's the first time ever, in my opinion, that we see the alien come out. Meaning that you don't even know. And especially if you guys remember the Key to Time, in that one scene, which I still think is one of the funniest scenes ever in Doctor Who, is when he puts the key together. He's standing there with Romana, and then he gives Romana a warning. He's just like, "What would happen if I went completely ape?" And he does right in front of her. And he goes, "Because I can do anything. I've got the key to time." And Romana's going like, "Are you okay, Doctor?" And he goes, "Yeah, I'm okay. But what if I wasn't okay?" And I kind of see that in the Doctor. When you push his buttons too hard, when you push the wrong thing, like family blood, or say the word rose as he did in the Shakespeare Code, or I rarely saw it in the Fifth Doctor, but like the Seventh Doctor, who was 10 steps ahead of his enemies. Isn't that the definition of the Doctor? Even with Ncuti,
I don't disagree.
All the Doctors have a zest for life. But at one point, you trigger the button, the Doctor comes out, and
that's what happened with
and
this
the
one.
Time Lord Victorious. Doesn't matter if he's got PTSD. The Time Lord Victorious shows up, and I wish you the best of luck trying to get away from the Doctor.
And you're not wrong.
Go ahead, Dave. Go ahead.
So you look at 9. 9 was very much shell shocked from the Time War.
Right.
10 had accepted the Time War.
Was a big kid
and was less dark, but he still had a lot of darkness in him. The 11 was all over the board, not necessarily out of control, but he would go from very manic to very dark very quickly, and he bounced.
River was the teeter-totter for that, yeah.
In a lot of cases. 12 recognized
is manic.
12 was, am I a good man? He's looking back at where he's been and very introspective of, am I still a good man? Am I? 13 had accepted, yes, I think I'm a good person, but was still very closed with her, for someone who she called a fam, she was very closed off with them. And then we have regeneration into 14, why am I like this? And again, we've established that 10 was the last time he really accepted this major shift in his life. So that might be, and that may or may not be part of it. But and then as we get into 15, it was we've done therapy in reverse.
But how do you explain the fugitive doctor?
We don't, because fugitive doctor goes, but is
don't know where she's
theoretically fugitive doctor is pre-Hartnell.
We sure about that?
No.
Well, that's what she has said. So I'm gonna go with it for now. And if that proves itself different later, we can readjust. But for now, right? They 15 is, we've done the therapy in reverse. Time Lords do things in a different order. Okay, cool.
So
he has very much accepted his past, but you can't. PTSD is a thing.
And then there's CPTSD too, so you gotta watch that too.
Exactly. And there is a point where you can't healing brings in random tears. Healing brings in a lot of the characteristics are that of someone who is going through the healing and early stages of having done the work to do the healing.
As far as 15 is concerned, that's a lot of random tears.
Exactly. And with 15, and yes, and you know what? I've been there. I literally spent 2 hours of a drive in absolute tears one time as I was dealing with some stuff. It happens. It's not.
You guys know with me. You read it. You read it.
Exactly. So it's and then we get to this, and yes, we still see the darkness is still there, and the darkness will be still there.
But Dave, that's quite interesting what you said. If he's doing it in reverse, so when he bi-generated, he would have been happier, and as his life gets older, would he be reversing and going back to darkness?
And so because we have been seeing more as the seasons have gone on, we've seen more instances of him
going darker,
showing that those dark moments, especially in the season where he's got, especially this time. But like I said, in the Christmas episode, when he goes to Joy and just with a smile guts her soul with a smile. There's a special sort of cruelty that's required to be able to even do that.
He came close to what Conrad was like. He came close.
But do we have any other reviews there, Christian?
Did Faith do one? Or
No. We got through all the reviews there. So
okay.
I mean, if you're ready,
I do have one more sub review number to add to mine.
Sure.
I just want to say, as with
like my
most
Nana.
Doctor Who episodes, this one did get 10 out of 10 for not having James Corden.
Okay.
A couple of them don't get that 10 out of 10, and it's deeply unfortunate.
Well, I was shocked that we were watching a BBC show while the guy was sitting with a BBC reporter on a BBC show. I don't know if you got that picture I sent you guys and everything, but that was like the meta, the meta on that one.
But I want to try and get us out of here in about 5 minutes. So let's
do it quicker than that. And again, if you haven't subscribed already, please go ahead and do so. Get our numbers up out there. We're almost there. That's the latest. I haven't checked it recently out there. Plus, also don't forget, we're going to the Space Coast. Space Coast Comic Con. You can check them up at spacecoastcomiccon.com, June 14th and 15th. Legend of the Traveling TARDIS will be out there, as well as practically every geekdom, as you can see in the picture. If you have a geekdom somewhere, it's going to be sitting somewhere inside that auditorium. So make sure to get your tickets now, June 14th and the 15th. And I just recently booked my hotel, so it is confirmed. I am going to Ancient City with the Dalek Builders.
And you're going to see all my friends there.
September 14th, 12th to the 14th at the World Golf Village Resort, Renaissance Resort in St. Augustine, Florida. Make sure you check us out there. We will again have the Dalek Builders. And of course, don't forget, before we're about to leave, don't forget to say goodbye to Simon on the way out. Dave, go ahead and take us out. Whatever you need. Got a few chats that just came in.
Oh,
okay.
No.
Go. Christian, what you have to do is you have to go ban those people in Twitch after the fact.
Yeah, I do.
Oh, you got one of those too? I don't know. That was fun. That's why my Twitch channel's messed up.
So, Gadget, where can we find you?
Oh, Twitch, Twitter, X, whatever you call it, and everything. Facebook, Instagram. I'll be at the Bronx Comic Con August 1st or 2nd, one of those days. And also Anime NYC from the 21st to the 24th. And I'm trying my best to get ready for the Build Expo, which will be in June. It'll be a Tuesday, Wednesday, so you guys might not see me on a Tuesday, depending on if it's boring or not and everything, because they're doing podcasters, photographers, and vloggers, a whole convention for them and everything. So who knows? Maybe I can get the word out there to watch, subscribe, and like for the Legend Traveling TARDIS and all our channels.
There you go.
And also Lulu.com for those books. They're somewhere around here and everything. Need the money to go to those conventions.
Exactly. Candyman, where do we find you?
You can find me enrolling in Unit because hashtag I stand with Unit.
Oh, yes.
No, you can find me here at the Legend of the Traveling TARDIS. You can also find me at Spill the Geek Tea, where we discuss random stuff to so many hours in the middle of the morning. For me, anyway.
Get some sleep, you freak.
He's a day walker now.
Speaking of freaks, let's do Tom next.
Well, we have freaks and geeks here, right?
Freaks and geeks.
Well, you can find me on here. You can find me on Spill the Geek Tea. You can find me on Tasty Talk with Tasty Cake, Wednesdays and Saturdays at 5 p.m. Eastern. And I almost cleaned up my mess, so it's pretty cool.
Wow, you actually sound like British. You'd be hanging around me too much.
Exactly.
Mr. Brisbane Adams.
You can find me at crossingthethemes.wordpress.com or wandering with a not so bright look on my face through the streets.
Come to New York. You'll fit right in. Come to New York.
I'll take the latter. I want to see that mug.
As for me,
hey,
I'm gonna have a bigger coin because there.
Yeah,
that's
a real 50p. You don't get that, do you?
No, I don't. No, I definitely don't. This is a Goliath coin. It's just
I used to have a Power Rangers coin around here.
I used to have one that had a squirrel on it, but
that's
it
cool.
missing, so I got this for the World Cup, for the Quad Bowl World Cup coming up in the summer. Use that for coin tosses. Anywho, you can find me
it disappeared.
on my website, youtube.com/TheRatHole.CA. Or starting next month on youtube.com/Happiness Patrol Show. All capital letters. Sorry, at capital letters.
Rewind.
Yep. I think there's a banner there. Happiness Patrol Show. There it is. Ding.
There you go.
Mm-hmm.
And apparently in these URLs, the capitals actually do matter. Go figure. But yes, we'll be doing a new show starting on June the 5th, less than a month to go. And the exact opposite of a lot of things we talked about today. We're sick of the toxicity, so we want to talk about something that made us happy and be positive. That does not mean not being critical, but to be happy. So check us out June 5th, episode 1 of Happiness Patrol Show. And until then, the TheRatHole WHOniverse, that's going to continue. Both channels are going to be completely valid. Until then, Christian, is there anywhere else we need to go, Christian?
No, again, right now, if you haven't done it, go ahead and subscribe. youtube.com/TheLegendOfTheTraveling Thank you all for joining us tonight. Don't forget to say goodnight to Simon on the way out, and make sure you get your tickets for the 2 conventions. Keep an eye out on our social media. And guys, stay safe as always, because we don't want you looking like this just in case anything happens.
Christmas.
So, with that, let's go ahead and end the show.
Good night,
Tony.
Simon.
Good night. Wait a minute, Simon. Oh my God, I had to.
We need Simon.
Simon.
Night,
Tony,
Simon.
take us out quick.